What's going on YouTube? So today's video we're going to go ahead and show you a step-by-step tutorial on how to properly set up a live stream on OBS for vertical mode. We're going to be going through an in-depth video for multicam setup, green screen. We're also going to be able to show you how to link it up to whatnot, YouTube, TikTok, etc. Now I'll also be breaking down the bit rate and what that means and what it means based off of your network speed. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this video. All right, so here we are in OBS Studio. If you're going to start a new project / scene, you're going to press the add scenes here on the bottom left corner, and you're going to go ahead and rename it to whatever you want. First things first, we're going to go ahead and set our canvas or aspect ratio. So we're going to go to settings, we're going to go to video right here, and this will be our base canvas or resolution that'll be within the live stream. Right now I have it set up to 1080 by 1920, which is the typical aspect ratio, a 9 by 16, which is the inverted version of a regular YouTube video. You can also check out the output scaled resolution, which will be just the resolution that it'll be streamed at. I recommend just to bring it up to the top, which is 864 by 1536. You also have an FPS ratio. When it comes to live streaming vertical, it doesn't really matter because you're not going to be moving around a lot. So I recommend just going to 30 FPS. It's a good average. We're going to go to output, streaming, and we're going to change our encoder here. It's dependent on obviously whatever machine you're running on. Right now we're on Core Audio AAC. You also have FFmpeg AAC. I just use the Core Audio because it's still as good without being super expensive, I guess you could say, for the codec. And then video encoder, you also do have specific to Apple, like the Apple VT H.264 hardware and software encoder, or default is X264. When it comes to Windows, you do have options for actually having your graphics card being the video encoder, which if you have a beefy graphics card, I would recommend to change it to that. You have a rescaled output as well, but we're only shooting a 1920 by 1080, so the good thing about that is we don't have to do anything really too insane. The main thing that we really need to worry about is the bit rate. Right now I have this set to 2500 kilobytes per second at a CBR rate control. That's a constant bit rate control, meaning it'll be pretty much as steady as possible, as close to that number that I set it to. You also have other options available there as well. This is completely dependent on how, the stream will look. The higher the kilobit per second rate is, the better, the faster your Wi-Fi is able to handle. I would say 2500 is the bare minimum when it comes to vertical video. We can also go ahead and increase this to 5000, and that'll be a little bit better than average, and then 10,000 would probably be the best possible. It's obviously going to be very dependent on your Wi-Fi, and I recommend to go ahead and test out your Wi-Fi speed. I'll throw up a chart here dependent on kilobyte per second to calculate the megabit per second ratio. And that's pretty much it for that. Make sure you hit apply before you move on to the next step. Now we're going to go to stream here. We're going to go to custom settings, and right here you do have the destination server key and stream key. This will allow you to stream on multiple platforms all at once via a multi-server, or you can easily do it on whatnot, YouTube, or TikTok directly with server keys. So that's pretty much it for those settings right there. That's pretty much everything you need. Now we're going to go to sources here. We're going to add our first source. Let's go ahead and add our audio. Right here we do have our audio input capture device, browser, capture card device. These three are the main ones we're going to be using. You also do have video capture device right there as well, which is good for webcams. Capture card device is good for video game consoles and everything else like that. All right, so first we're going to add our input device. This is going to be our microphone. So we're just going to put mic. It's automatically set to default, but you do have some options here. All right, so we just turned on SC1, which this is our microphone. This is not a lav microphone. If you want to use a lav microphone, it's pretty simple. You just connect it to the side of your device. There are dongles out there, so if you have a TRRS cable to TRS cable, you plug this end into your lav mic, this end into your laptop. You do have an OTG adapter, something like from Apple. You just connect that into your laptop, and then you go to your audio settings and it should pop up. Now on the right hand side, you'll notice that it does say multiple different audio is being recorded. We have mic as well as desktop audio. We can mute desktop audio, or we can technically just hide it so we don't have to see that. We can hide the other ones. You could also go to advanced settings right here, and this will be the main settings that you need in order to actually be able to fine tune your audio. So there's no duplicates or anything else like that. So you can see here, we uncheck the active sources only, and this is everything that could be recorded. Turn on active sources. This is everything that's active right here. You can change the volume in percentage or decibel right here in this. You can change it to a mono track by checking that. You can balance it out left or right, sync offset, and then right here, which is the most important, tracks. So right now our microphone is recorded on every single track, which is typically what you would want just as a backup or fail-safe. That way you're constantly knowing you're being recorded. Now let's go ahead and add our first webcam. So we're gonna go to the plus there. We're gonna add a video capture device here at the bottom. Let's go ahead and rename this webcam 1. Now it's completely dependent on whatever webcam you're using. If you're using something that's wireless, it'll be a different process. You'll have to go into the software that is actually made from the company and then go into OBS. That way you have it fully set up, which is in this case, we're using a MacBook, so it's using our MacBook's webcam. You also have an option for your iPhone webcam. So I think that's pretty cool, but I'll show you a better alternative that I honestly personally love, but this is what the settings looks like for iPhone. So this is the process. You just automatically press that and it'll be automatically right there. Now the thing that sucks about this is you have to make sure you fit this in frame, nitpick on all that, but once you do it, it's one and done. Now before you actually start adding in your sources for webcams, I highly recommend to download one of these overlays. I do have a black version as well as the white version. You just drag and drop it into OBS. Hit transform and press fit to screen. This will give you a red border, which is your safe zone basically, and your white border, which will show up on Whatnot. Specifically, since we are doing a Whatnot tutorial, you can also look up other templates for YouTube, TikTok, and any other platform you're looking for, but this will give you an estimate on where you need to put things. That way you don't have text or your face being blocked by certain stuff. So I highly recommend to download this template. I'll leave a link in the description for that. Let's go ahead and show you how to have this crazy cool multicam setup that I like to do with any device. They have an app, it's called video.ninja. So this is what the app looks like, but I will go ahead and show you the website version. All right, so for the setup, you're gonna go to video.ninja. It'll easily bring you to this webpage. You're gonna press create a room for the very first time, and then you're gonna go ahead and give yourself a room name. So we're gonna give ourselves a room name. Let's just say, you can also do a password. It's completely optional, but I highly recommend to add one. For this case, we're just gonna put LOL as the name. Okay, and then right here you do have other settings. It says the guest can see the director, but no other guest can see the videos, so you can't see each other, and then the director will be performing as well, appearing in group scenes. So I would recommend to not check those because we're going to be using guests as being the recorded version. They also have video codec. It's by set to default. I recommend to do VP9 or H.264. VP9 is more friendly, I would say. H.264 is just a regular codec, but let's do VP9. Now we can go ahead and load as the director role, which I recommend to do. This will give you access to basically everything you want for customizing it. Now you only really have to customize 3 things on the guest side as well as the OBS side. So for the guest side, you're going to check 1080p for these top 2 right here, and you're also going to check mini self preview. You can also check most of these settings here, depends on what you want, but those are the 3 that I recommend. For the OBS version, we're going to check off 3 as well. We're going to check off crop video to fit. This just makes it super easy. Whenever people join, it'll automatically fit it into the screen. We're going to check off force mono audio and unlock video bitrate. You can technically add margin video. That one's completely optional. I like that one, but completely optional. Is now that you have the edited link, once you edit everything, it'll automatically adjust all those settings. You're going to copy this link for OBS first. We're going to go into OBS. We're going to press this source button, and we're going to go to browser. Now we're going to set up multicam. So this is just one link that we paste there into the URL. We're going to change the width into the same exact canvas. There is the resolution. Just copy that exact one. 1080 by 1920. Control audio via OBS. Now we have full control on OBS. Use custom frame rate. We're going to do 30 FPS. Shut down source when not visible, and refresh browser when scene becomes active. We're going to turn those ones on. Make sure this says read access to OBS status information, so that way it doesn't have, access to do everything. So make sure it's read only. We're gonna press OK. And now we're gonna go to the invite a guest here. We're gonna go ahead and copy this link. And then on our phone here, we're gonna go to Safari. We're gonna go ahead and paste the link and the password. Remember, it was LOL. Now we're gonna join with the camera here. And it shows you some sources here. You can change the camera to any camera you want. You can change this later. It's not, one and done. You can always change it later on. You also have settings right here to be able to have high resolution, balance, or smooth and cool. So right there it says 1920 by 1080, 30 FPS, which is what we want. And then you have balance, which is 20. Now we have the option to do the iPhone microphone right there. You could do that or you don't have to. Once again, if you already have a microphone or a lavalier microphone, you don't have to check this off. But if you're doing like a multi-cam person, then I would recommend, having different versions. You also have audio output resolution, which by default is just the speakerphone. Now we can press start. All right, so now that we do have the director side of it, you do have multiple options here, and it'll say the director has disabled your vision temporarily. So if someone joins your link for whatever reason, you can obviously ban them from seeing or hearing or doing everything else like that. The thing that I really like about this is that you're able to do that seamlessly on OBS. So as you can see here, we're on OBS now. This is what the phone looks like. And you can see it's very, very high quality. We can flip the camera, as you can see. You can change the settings here still to change the audio source, to change the video source, whatever lens you want it to be at. So very, very easy and simple. And as you can see here, there's virtually no lag. It looks super, super clear. So it's really nice to see that. But like I mentioned, the main thing that separates this software from other ones is obviously it's free, but you can have multiple people join. So I'm on the iPad now, same settings, high resolution. We can start it. It'll automatically split view that. So you see how fast that was? Now we're on 1080p for both of those. And you can see the quality on both of them are really, really good. On the iPad view, this is what it's going to look like. So it just looks like a regular FaceTime. So the iPhone is the big version on the collaborator, and this one is the iPad on the smaller version, the picture-in-picture, which you can drag around. So it's pretty cool that you're able to do basically FaceTime, but also have that live streamed to everyone else. You can mute yourself, you can mute the hearing, you can turn off your video temporarily, and it'll automatically turn off the view. So when we turn it on, it'll go right there. When we turn it off, your half will still be there, but their half will be temporarily gone because they're still technically there. And then we can reactivate it by pressing that. However, whenever you do hang up, it'll automatically adjust itself to be full screen, which is what that cropped version would be. And it'll show a little bye emoji. And to rejoin, obviously turn on that. And you can also do the screen record version. You don't have to just do the camera, but it's very easy to easily do that. And it auto adjusts. And I added that black bar in the middle, but you can add your own black bar. It does it in the software, which is pretty cool. So you can do this with laptops or anything really. It doesn't have to be just this. So if I go ahead and show you guys here, we're gonna do a third camera, which I don't know how many you could do, but I'm doing 3 devices here. And we're gonna do it on the MacBook. So I muted the other inputs. This is what it looks like on MacBook view. We can still change our settings here. So you can see we can do screen share instead or anything else like that. The webcam on the MacBook is a little bit worse, I would say, but this is what it looks like on the iPad view. So obviously we do have those 3 people. We can move just this one, which is just us. We can move ourselves off to the side and you can see the rest of the people right there. So this is what it looks like on OBS. So we have 3 people now on there, which is crazy. It automatically adjusts. If we turn off one of the cameras, like I mentioned before, it'll cut that part in half. So it'll still be there, but it'll turn it off temporarily. So when they join back, they'll be in the same exact spot they were before. Now the only thing is, because these are previews, I won't know if I'm in frame or not because it is cropped. It's a little harder to tell. So that's probably the only downside. So I'd recommend, it does a pretty good job at cropping, but that's just one downside I would say. Other than that, it's really cool. And whenever someone hangs up here, it'll automatically collapse into its spot right there. When it comes to microphone, everything else like that. However, we do have one more thing, green screen. So I don't have a green screen here, obviously, but if we did have green screen, all you have to do is go to Multicam or whatever camera you're using. We're gonna go ahead and press on filters here. And then we're gonna go ahead and press on effect filters right there at the bottom. There is a little plus, press the plus. We're gonna use chroma key. By default, it'll automatically be set for green screens. So it'll have this green icon right here, but you could change it to blue, magenta, or custom color. If you do custom color, I highly recommend do that. That way you can select color, use the eyedropper, and if you have the green in your image, just use the green on your image. So you can just, pick that. And then we have that chromed out. You can change the softness, the smoothness. So this is what it looks like on here, even though we don't really have a green screen. It pretty much darkened the background. If your camera is capable of doing pass-through live streaming, meaning you're able to use it as a webcam, I highly recommend to do that. Because I'm able to use my wireless lav mic on the camera itself and then stream the audio directly into the OBS software easily just like that. So you can hear me using my favorite microphone without having to plug it into my laptop. It's just on the camera itself. I'm able to have, my whatnot stream like this if I'm opening cards, and then a picture of me or a secondary camera on the top half. And then if you wanted to switch scenes or change different things, there's also an app for that, and I'll show you how to actually set it up so you can switch seamlessly between camera A to camera B to camera C on the fly. So the app we're going to go ahead and use to be able to control our devices are Elgato Streamdeck, and it's the mobile version, so you're able to use it on your iPhone, your iPad easily. So opening it up for the first time, we're going to go ahead and connect it to our computer with a USB-C cable. So I'm going to go ahead and get this USB-C, plug it in on the bottom, as well as our laptop. And on our laptop, we're going to go ahead and search up Streamdeck. So right here, we're going to go ahead and download the Steam Deck. I'll leave a link in the description for this, and it shows you all the compatibility. Steam Deck Mobile is what you want to look for. So we're going to download this. It works with your Apple. Just wait for this to download here at the bottom. We're just going to go through the full and agree. And there we go. Move to trash, and it automatically pops up. So now when we go to our iPad, it'll go right here. Once we are connected, we'll enter that code. We're going to press trust on our MacBook, and there we go. Very simple. Now that we have this set up, we're going to download this OBS Studio video here. We're going to open. There we go, plugin installed. Now we have all of the OBS stuff. You will have to restart OBS in order for these to work. That way, it's just synced. But once you do have it synced, you can go ahead and press source visibility. We're going to drag it into one of these widgets here. You can change the icon here by pressing this plus. And then whenever you do change it, it'll update in real time onto the device. So you can change it to whatever you want. We're going to change this one to a little camera icon, and we're going to rename this Cam 1. It'll even add the text onto the display. In here, we can go ahead and check our source. So right here, we have it for whatnot. The source will be, let's just say webcam 1. There we go. So now we have the first webcam. Make sure you're very organized with this. Rename anything you need to rename, because it is very helpful when you're using extensions like this. We're going to go ahead and double click or right click the icon here. We're going to move it into a multi-action. So now that we have it in a multi-action, we're going to go ahead and add a scene transition into it. We're going to name this, let's just put it as a fade. There we go. Now we have a fade added onto the source visibility. So whenever we press this, let's title it Cam 1, and we add the icon. It's a multi-action function button that whenever we do press it, we can easily fade into different cams. That way it's not a fast jump, but you also have options on doing that. So we can go ahead and unlock this here. Now, sadly, for this version specifically, you do have obviously $25 a year, which is not bad. So I'm going to try it for free just to show you guys. There we go. So in here for the multi-action, we're going to go ahead and change the source visibility for the other one to be able to hide any of the other cameras. So we're going to go to change that for whatnot. We're just going to, let's hide webcam 2. So there we go. We're going to invert this. So we're going to go to, first it's going to go ahead and hide it. Then it'll fade into source 1. So it should look seamless. Hopefully it'll be seamless. So whenever you press camera 1, that's what should happen. Right now we're on webcam 2, which is the one right here. We're going to press camera 1, and we're on camera 1. And what that did is it turned off, it hid this one right here, and it's showing only webcam 1. So now if we go ahead and add webcam 2, so the same exact thing, we're going to start off with the source visibility. We're going to name this camera 2. We're going to change the scene to whatnot, source, camera 2. All right, now we're going to right click that icon. We're going to move to multi-action, and same thing. We're going to go ahead, add a scene transition, we're going to make it a fade. So once we have that fade inputted, now we're going to go ahead and add the final source visibility. We're going to drag that onto the top actually. Just rearrange it the same thing. So first is going to be camera 1. And we're going to change this to hide. Same thing. We're going to go to source for whatnot, rename everything. We're going to hide camera 1. So it's very simple. It's kind of like coding for video games. You're going to go ahead and turn off the camera first, fade it into camera 2. And let's go ahead and change this icon and rename it cam 2, just like that. So now we have a multi-point action with 3 actions. We renamed it for camera 1 and camera 2. After that, you can unplug it and it'll connect via Wi-Fi. So now we're on camera 1 right here, which is the front view. So when we go to camera 2, we're going to press camera 2 and it's very instant. And now we're on camera 2 there. Camera 2, and it does have that fade, which is why it jumps a little bit. If you don't want that jumping, or you can change the millisecond response time. So if we go custom action right here, go to one millisecond, it'll actually decrease the delay that this normally has. So it'll be actually faster. So now when we have camera 1, 2, 1, 2, it'll switch instantly, very quickly as well. So there's no delay now. So you can add as many as you want. Like I mentioned before, there's 15 widgets that you can have here, but there's 2 pages. So you can fill up 30 different icons, 30 different widgets. You have an unlimited amount because you can even add folders in here and it'll go even deeper for specific videos, which is really cool. So we're going to go back to Streamdeck here. We also do have filters here. So if we drag this filter, we can actually trigger the green screen to toggle on and off. So we're going to rename this green screen. Same thing, we're going to do the source. So in this case, let's just say it was a multicam, chroma key. If you already have the filter set up, it'll pop up. So you have to set it up first on OBS with the chroma key enabled to be able to turn it on and off. Now I'll go ahead and show you that real quick. All right, so we're set up here, the filter right here. We already had that set up in the chroma key. So turn it on and off, that's what it's going to look like. So if we had this already set up, let's press the green screen. There we go. Turn green screen off, turn it on, turn green screen off, turn green screen on. So it's very helpful if you don't need the green screen constantly. You can have a button that hot presses it into turning it on and off. We're also going to show you what it looks like when you actually disconnect this. So now it's connected via Wi-Fi. And if I wanted to go back to the first camera, it'll toggle to the first camera. I don't know if you can even see that, but it is. So camera 2, which is the one that's down here, camera 1, and there's no wires, no nothing. These little widgets, that way you can easily turn on green screen, turn off green screen, go to camera 1, camera 2, or the new multicam that I actually showed you guys on this video. So yeah, there's a bunch of different widgets that you can add. Hopefully this video was helpful when it comes to being able to live stream on vertical mode. The stream key comes in handy. You can get that off of your YouTube, your TikTok, your whatnot, whatever you want to stream it on. You can easily grab those stream keys, plug it into OBS, and then start streaming that way. Without further ado, thank you guys for watching. If you have any troubleshoot issues on top of everything that I showed you guys, then let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching. All right, so when you're downloading it, make sure you filter it by system. That way you don't download the wrong one. In my case, I downloaded the Mac version, which is right here. And there's the icon right there. If you want the Windows, make sure there's a Windows icon and download the Stream Deck right there. It's the same thing when you go for the marketplace. Make sure you have this filtered to the device you want. Mine is filtered to Mac OS, but if I wanted Windows, I just check on Windows and download the Windows version. Let's say you have an issue with audio, because that typically does happen. Make sure there is no duplicates, and make sure you check the advanced settings. Make sure that it's actually active and has a percentage on there with all the tracks enabled. And if it's still not working, you can go to settings here, go to audio, and just make sure the global audio devices are checked on. So if you have a mic or auxiliary, so if you plug in a lav mic, you're going to have to enable this part. Or if you have, desktop audio, then you can add that. I also have mine in a mono track, but if yours doesn't work in mono track, you can try stereo as well. And then you can go to output and audio settings and check out the bit rate for each individual track. Adjust the bit rate. It's the same exact thing as a video bit rate, The higher the number, the better the audio, but the harder it is for the encoder and CPU to actually process that. Whenever you need to get a server key or a stream key, make sure obviously no one has that. Those are private information, which is why I don't show it. But you're going to put the server on the top, the stream key on the bottom, which is the most private part. It'll be hidden, which is why you have that show button. And you usually add that through Whatnot, TikTok, and YouTube. The audio monitoring, so it's by default to monitor off. For specific audio, you may need to change it to monitor only and mute output, or monitor and output. You just have to make sure you mute the speakers on the laptop or your PC, just in case you have audio issues.